can just hit that thing, the first invitation you got, and you'll be able to see it. You just won't be able, I won't be able to see you, which we'll get that fixed. We'll figure it out. Maybe you'll just have to come over to the house, and because I'm not sure what it looks like on your end. Okay, so just hit view or join or whatever that one invite was. Okay, so last week the two main things we talked about, Paula, was we talked about doing our bucket list, and that just opens our heart to then setting specific goals. And then we also talked about there's a tracker in there, and I'll get you up to par on that. And what we do is we put short-term goals in that tracker, and the whole idea is to help you get really consistent about the habits you need to have to get to the success that you want to have. So, but Phyllis just got a brand new grandbaby in the last 2 weeks, so she's been super helpful grandma. So she's trying to balance all this too. Okay. All right, ladies. So I hope that there's going to be a couple people that watch this. Some have just, it's kind of been a weird week. One of the gals is going to get on this morning, and she's like, you wouldn't believe Charter scheduled an outage. I'm like, why would you schedule an outage at 9 a.m. versus like 2 in the morning? Anyway, she's like, I was going to be on the call, and now I have no internet. Anyway, so just never a boring moment. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to talk about today is open-ended questions, and this is a huge benefit to all parts of your life. It could be with your relationships, it can be with business, every area of your life. When you learn to ask open-ended questions, it is just a huge boost to your business. So let's see here. We want to talk about these open-ended questions, and there's lots of different places that we use open-ended questions. One of the things that I found is in my relationship with even like my children and my husband, that when I ask them things like, how do you feel about this? Or how important is this to you? Or what ideas do you have for this? And I make sure I don't leave the questions, that they're really a huge benefit to me. So we're going to go over some of these. What I'm going to first teach you is different ways to ask open-ended questions, because many people, and maybe you all are better at it than I am, but I find a lot of people, they'll ask a question, and when they really think about it, they realize it's a yes-no question, and we just don't find out as much information about a person when it's a yes-no than versus when it's an open-ended. So let me give you a couple ideas here. So one of the ones I like to ask to get starting out, if you're wanting to ask somebody, if you want to get to what they don't like about something, so for example, Paula has a weight loss product, okay? If she wants to get to finding out why someone doesn't want to be the weight they are, we could hit with the negative question first, but actually, usually we'll get the information we need if we ask a positive question first. So maybe asking something like, tell me a little bit about what you like about your body, or tell me a little bit about what kind of exercise you like, or tell me a little bit about the strengths that you have and what you do like about your body, or those kind of things. And, you know, that would easily open up someone go, oh, you know, I don't like this and this and this and this and this. I can't tell you what I do like. Those kind of things. Or Phyllis, you know, asking somebody, what do you love most about traveling? Okay, what we want to do is find ways to connect with people and what they do like. So asking that, you know, what do you like about traveling? Then from there you can say, what one thing would you like to change when it came to your health? You want to, or improve. I like the word improve because it's proactive, versus when we just ask people a question that gives them an opportunity to complain versus say something proactive, it comes off really different. So, you know, if they say, oh, I love to travel, I just can't afford it. Well, what one thing, or they may say they don't have time, or different things like that. So you ask, you know, what one thing would you need to have happen so that you could travel more? Maybe it's, and that's a really good question to start opening up a conversation. Can you see how that would work, Phyllis?
Very much so.
Things like other open-ended questions are how do you feel about, okay? That word feel about, how do you feel about the idea of being 20 pounds less in 6 weeks from now? How do you feel about the idea of having a $69 cruise? How do you feel about these kind of things? We want them to get themselves excited, because when they feel us telling them all these solutions, they don't like to admit to other people they have a problem or they're missing something in their life. But when they hear it and then they tell it back to you, ooh, that sounds like that would be a solution for something that's wrong in my life, that's just much more psychologically comfortable. Okay? Asking things like on a scale of 1 to 10. I use this with my kids so much that when I ask them how much their head is hurting or how bad they want to go do an activity, well, Mom, it's like a 7. It's like a 9.5. Like they just automatically give me a number now, because they know I really want to know the degree. It's like, you may act excited, but then you tell me it's a 7. Well, you're just acting. Or someone, I have children who are more dramatic than others. My boys, well, I want it like a 9.5. And I'm like, well, you don't talk very excited, but now I know 9.5 means you really want it, and you're a boy, and testosterone's kicked in, okay? So that scale of 1 to 10 is a really fun number. It'd also be a fun way, Phyllis, when you're just kind of getting information. So on a scale of 1 to 10, or the other thing I like to do is if prioritizing, which of these, there's all these reasons for losing weight, or there's all these different places you could travel. Tell me which is the number one place or the number one reason for losing weight. What's the number one place you'd want to travel, and then go down to the end. So it's just kind of ways to open up conversations and get to know people really effectively. What would it mean to you, or what would it mean to your family, or how would you feel about yourself, or all these kind of things. What things would you do different if you had an opportunity to travel, if you felt healthier? All those kind of things, okay? Do those kind of statements, how do those statements feel to you, Paula?
Yeah, those are some good ones that I definitely could use.
Awesome. Fabulous. Okay. So let me kind of tell you some places that these are really helpful, okay? A lot of us meet people while we're out and about, and having some open-ended questions to meet new people is really good, okay? And when you get in a conversation with somebody, you get to know them, they have kids or they're buying something, and you have this opportunity to kind of make conversation. And then it leads to a health question or wanting to spend more time as a family or something like that. That's when you can ask some of these questions and find out a little bit more about them by asking really good open-ended questions. And then if it sounds like there's some reason that what you have might be a good fit for them, I like to ask this question that makes it softer and really empowers them. Hey, I have something that's been working for other people. For some reason, they like to hear that it worked for other people, not just for you. So it worked for other people. Could I find a time to sit down and tell you a little bit more about it and see if you feel like it would be a good fit for yourself? They like it coming back to them and, oh, I'm making the decision and you're not trying to convince me to do this. So it's just a softer, easier way to do things. Okay? So all of these questions, so these are questions if you're doing something in a group. You can ask these questions in a group. You can ask them one-on-one. You can even, I know, Paul, I'm not sure, do you have any team members yet? Do you have a group of people? Do you have recruits?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So both of you have some team members. These kind of questions, when you're trying to find out why somebody, what they want out of the business, and then sometimes people, they said they want something out of the business, but then the work didn't match what their goals were.
Amen.
Questions and getting them excited about their business again. These kind of questions, okay? They can't be education, this is how you sell questions. They have to be helping that person reveal again what their goals and their whys were. And then say, hey, so like when I make a suggestion to somebody, they're saying they can't find new customers or haven't had classes or, whatever you call it, group experience in your business, or recruits, or these different kind of things. So I might make a suggestion. How would you feel about making 10 phone calls this week to people you know and invite them to this event? I mean, I may not be telling a scenario that's exactly like yours, but you kind of will get the idea. And they'll go, yeah, okay, I could do that. And you're trying to figure out if they're really on board or not. So tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how comfortable this activity is for you. They'll go, oh, like a 4, and you go, oh, they're not going to do this activity. And it helps you go, okay, that one seems really uncomfortable, and it may not be one you are able to completely do because of some nervousness. Let's come up with one that you feel closer to like an 8 or 9 comfortable with. So this, instead of asking people to do things and hope they did it just because they said yes, if you get an idea of how they feel about that activity, you're going to be a lot more likely to also follow up and help them and know how much they need. Sometimes we need to hold their hand and walk right beside them for a little while till they get comfortable. And these are tools that help you figure out who needs a little more encouragement and assistance in either just a situation or at the beginning versus, I mean, I've given people assignments and they're kind of they're very just neutral people and they're not real animated, and I'll think that they really aren't on board, and I go, well, how comfortable are you with that? Oh, like a 9, I'm good. And I'll be like, wow, that's not what I was expecting. Okay? Yeah. You just, especially if it's on the phone, you don't have any body language, and that's why I like to do the Google Hangouts, is because I can see body language and how people are feeling about what I'm saying more. But this is where every single area of your business, whether you're having group settings and you have a hostess, asking them questions, finding out their why. The whole thing is over and over and over again, finding out their why. So when we ask them to sign up, when we ask them to become a consultant or whatever your company calls it, and somebody signs up as a recruit, when somebody hosts a group function, finding out their whys and what's in it for them will make it so that you can talk about those things and get them to do a couple things that are sometimes uncomfortable, but are going to get to their goal because you're completely focused on them and what's in it for them.
So that would mean that you would use the questions like, what would it mean to you? Yay, Paula's on.
Paula, you found it.
I did.
Okay, I'm hanging up the phone.
Just keep playing with it. Okay, I'm here. Kind of.
Where did you find it?
I don't know. I just thought I would just play around with it a little more, and I clicked back on, and there it was.
Yay! Okay. All right, Phyllis, go ahead. What were you asking about certain questions? I don't know what group you were talking about.
I have a team member that's got me calling somebody today that's more my age and he's recruited her, but he wants me to talk to her about where she's going and what she's doing and encourage her. She's more my age. He's 20, okay? And she's my age. I'm not uncomfortable with it. I'll do it. I've done it before, but I really, sometimes the place that I have difficulty is finding out if people really are wanting to do the business because it's so inexpensive to do our business.
Right.
So people will buy it, but they don't have the passion to do it, so then they don't do anything.
Right.
And so that's those kind of questions I need to ask or find that out, and then getting to people's real whys. People seem to like, oh yeah, I want to make a lot of money. Well, they don't want to make a lot of money. If they did, they'd be doing something about it.
Right.
And they don't. And so it's like, that is the hardest thing for me. Just really finding out why, or of course, I guess I should say that I don't even know what my why is as far as my business is concerned either, so maybe that's my problem.
Well, I'm trying to remember if I've gone over these 3 questions. Okay, so here's some things to chew on that. So let me give you actually 3 questions. Have I gone over the 3 motivational styles with either of you?
No.
I wonder where I usually do that. I feel like I've lost that in my notes. Oh, it was on week 1. We got having this little great conversation, Phyllis. We didn't get to this. Okay, which is great because Paula's here. Okay, so if you have a little piece of paper, or you can just remember, there's 3 questions I'm going to ask you, and I asked this of all my people, and just realized I forgot to ask you guys. So the first question in this reveals motivation and what's in it for people all the time. Okay, this really helps a lot. So the very first question is, when you do something, is it more because you like the money and the titles, or is it because it's something that you feel like will change an individual's life or change the world? Like, which side of that fence? Now let me explain just a little bit about that. Just because you're driven by money and titles doesn't make you a worldly person necessarily, and someone who's, you know, kind of selfish and that kind of thing. Because the Mother Teresa's, who are, you know, 100% change the world, need the Donald Trumps and some of those who have money and are philanthropists and are willing to donate lots of money. Okay? Right. So there's nothing wrong with being driven by money, because some people, especially women, oh, no, I want to change the world, but really they love that paycheck. And, I mean, Mary Kay thrives off of putting crowns on women and making, you know, giving them recognition. So you can't tell me that there's not a bunch of women who are driven by money and titles, okay? But it doesn't make them selfish. So just realize. So you got to write that down. Are you more of a money and titles, or are you money and title, or it changes the world?
Okay. Got it. Okay. And you did ask me these questions. You just didn't tell me I should write them down so I knew what they were.
That's funny. Okay, so the next one is, are you more likely, do you like your day to be consistent? Do you wake up in the morning and, you know, you work out, you eat a certain thing, you call a certain person, you know, the same days, it looks the same? Or do you like it every day is a little bit different? Like, do you like to be able to get up and do something different every day?
Ah, okay.
Okay.
And that will reveal whether they're more analytic or more global. Is that what you're saying, or structured versus?
It actually gives you a way to direct them based on their sales strength. Okay. Or especially if you're training, if they are a one-on-one person, or they like to work on their own, for you to film your training and let them watch it on their own versus expect them to be a part of it, like, let's say you did a group training at your house, okay? Them coming to your group training isn't going to feed them. But them watching a video and then reporting back to you one-on-one might.
Okay, but how does the consistent versus the difference tell me that?
Oh, I'm talking about the wrong question. I'm so sorry.
All right.
That's number 3 question. Hang on. Okay, let me go back to consistent. Okay, after this last question, then I'll go back to consistent and variety. I'm really, really sorry. Okay, I apologize. Okay, the last question is, if you're going to work, let's say housework needs to be done and you had a house full of kids, okay? Is it, here's your assignment, just get it done by 6 o'clock tonight, or is it, turn on the music, everybody works together, you know, you help each other, you make it this fun group event? Are you a group person, or are you a work on your own person?
Okay.
Okay, so sorry.
That's all right. Now back to consistent. Okay, consistent or
okay, back to consistent variety. Okay, so the consistent and variety person, the variety person is one day going to go to a networking activity, another day she's going to have a group class, and another day she's going to do a one-on-one. And if she doesn't have variety, she's going to lose her mind. The consistency person, you need to help her calendar. Okay, we're going to find a way to make sure Tuesday nights are your working nights. You're going to have someone to talk to every Tuesday night. It's a way to help them figure out how their motivation works best. Okay, so let me tell you another example. So my son, Porter, he's training to be a triathlete and wants to go to the Olympics. Okay. This is like a big, lofty goal, and he knows, looking at the calendar and based on some other life goals he has, he wouldn't be able to probably go to an Olympics for about 10 years from now. Now, my son's motivational styles are, what's the first one? Change the world. Okay, he is Mr. Nice Guy. He doesn't have a competitive bone in his body. It's almost hysterical. The next one is he's consistency. So when his coach tells him he has to work out 3 to 4 hours a day, that's fine. He'll go do it. And he likes to work on his own, which this triathlon thing, when the coach says to go run 10 miles, the coach says to go do, 3,000 yards at the pool or whatnot, he is fine doing it on his own. Whereas a group person is going to blow their brains out, because you can't expect me to work that much alone if I'm a group person. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So my son was at a track meet the other day, and he's running, and he's Mr. Consistency. So everybody jets out. Like the boy cannot sprint, saves life. He goes out even. Everybody goes out. He passes all these people by the end of the mile. There's this one last boy, and he's beat him before. And he comes in by 1 second, I mean, like right on his heels, comes in right behind this other guy. So we're sitting there talking after, and I says, I'm kind of surprised you didn't beat that kid. You've beat him before. And he's like, Mom, it was a good thing he won. His whole family's here, and his family never comes, and so it was a really good thing he won. And I'm like, okay, so that's when, like, the proud mom, like, way prouder mom because he's a nice kid versus if he'd taken first comes in. But I'm like, I don't know how you're ever going to the Olympics. You have no competitive edge. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. So anyway, it's just, so bless this child's heart. So it helps you understand when people say, no, I do want to make money. See, the thing is, he can still make money and be second. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, we're that way.
Yeah. I mean, he still did well, and he's still ranked, and, he was 1 second behind a kid. He doesn't suck. It's just, okay, the mom would love to see him take first, okay? I won't even lie about it. It's like, you got it. It's right there.
Yeah.
But he's happy, and you know what? That's more important. So
Yeah.
Mom's happy. So it's all good. And it's like, oh, bless his heart.
Well, and
So
we do this will really help me because we do this analysis of people by color, but it tells more personality traits rather than functioning traits. So
Right.
it tells you whether they're driven or whether they're sporadic or whether they're, like analytic linear, or whether they're like, hi, I'm going to save the world and just weep and cry over every small poor thing. But it doesn't tell me how I need, how I can get the information about them to help them do their job well. So this is
Right.
good.
Good. So this is, I love this, it's called Get Motivated. This isn't my idea, okay? So if you want to look up more about this, but that's about as much as you need to know.
Okay.
The book's kind of long, but it's a good book. It's a really good read if you need something for inspiration, and especially when working with people. But what's fun is that if you understand these things, like follow with your customers. If they're a variety person and you see them reordering the same food every time, I'm telling you there's going to be a wall they're going to hit, okay? So your variety customers, you're going to want to send them recipes and fun ways to change things up because they're going to get bored. They're going to get bored fast, and that could be why they fall off the wagon, okay? Or someone who likes a group setting, you're going to want to make sure you call them a little extra to remember, get them to one of your information nights where it's a support group kind of thing, okay? Whereas your one that's works alone, a quick phone call to them, they're good to go. They don't need to come to all the social things to stay on task, okay? So that's the thing. As you learn about people, I mean, it's really bad. I really prefer to work alone. But it's not that I don't like people. In this setting, I have a specific job, and I'm fine. But if I'm just a participant, I get so antsy, and it's like I have to be really engaged, and the speaker better be really good, because I really don't enjoy group things just to be part of a group. That is not something that I'm super comfortable with, and that feeds my soul. But it's not because I don't like people. It's not that at all. It's just being in a group, and it's just a lot of stimulation. I just don't, it's not my thing. Where somebody else it is. Okay? So it's just a matter of understanding people. And me, I like variety, which is why I did really well with all my other businesses. I figured out how to sell it, but then when I figured out how to sell it, then I got bored. I know, it was really bad. That sounds kind of arrogant, but it's not. It's just that it wasn't a challenge anymore. And it wasn't to beat somebody else. I just like to challenge myself. I'm not really actually very competitive. I'm very, very competitive with myself, and I like to see what I can do, but it's not to see if I can outdo someone else. I don't like making anybody else feel bad. That makes me uncomfortable, but I like to see what I can do. So this way I get to talk about, weight loss one day, and I get to talk about travel another, and insurance another. And I was visiting with a gentleman this morning that's running for Congress, and I could see the way he was saying things was not, I'm like, this is still sales. I'm like, guess what? You're still selling yourself, and here's some different ways to say things. And he thinks I walk on water right now because he knows that people are going to listen to him more, and they may not agree with him, but at least they will have heard him out because he listened to them now.
Yeah.
So, because I'm like, you're not coming off authentic. If you care about people, that's not how it's coming off.
Yeah.
So he actually has a new system. So this works in so many different ways that I can still do the same thing over and over again, but with different products. So that's crazy variety part in me that has to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're doing this with different people, and as you have this person to call, understanding their motivational style, and one of the things you can do is help them. They'll beat themselves up, okay? Like somebody could have said I was a complete flake. And it wasn't that I quit my businesses. Like one time I was recruited from one business to another, and another one my aunt started a business, so I was her corporate trainer. So it wasn't just that I completely bailed, but I know in myself I get sort of bored. So someone that's a variety, helping them go, look, this is how we're going to help you add variety to this. And one day you're going to do calls, but another day you're going to network, another day you're going to do this. So that makes you have variety. Whereas someone else, maybe they need to make a half-an-hour phone call every single day, and they just need that consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a way to help them have success by understanding who they are and not expecting them to do it exactly the same way we do it, but take what we know that works and help them tweak it based on what works for them.
I think this is powerful because so often I'll go to training and the person will share with us their success, and everybody goes, oh yeah, I got to do it that way, I got to do it that way, and they go home and for a week they can do it that person's way,
Mm-hmm.
and then they fall off the wagon and can't. And Beck and I have talked about this many times. We feel like it's the training, woo, and then the,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And what it is it's totally ignoring who that person is.
Yeah.
I had success, so you can have success in this way, instead of saying, I've had success, but this is my personality type, and this is what makes it work for me. What's yours, and how can, so this is good stuff.
Yeah. The other thing, oh shoot, I just lost the thought again. Give me 2 seconds to pull it back out. Oh, I know what it is. The other thing is follow-up. Okay, if they've fallen off the wagon or they're new, either way, if their habits aren't consistent yet, okay? Mm-hmm. The other thing that happens is we go to these big trainings, and quite frankly, nobody follows up or asks if you're using any of it, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody. Sometimes an upline does, but not really. Usually they go off on their own thing on their own trainings when you get back, okay? Or they focus on the one that worked for them. So this is something that, I recommend really strongly, and some people will kind of debate me about this a little bit, but I'm like, look, I've seen it work. When you commit somebody to some action, they're falling off or they're brand new, hey, look, we need to either invite so many people to an event or call so many people, or you've talked about that one friend that you feel like would like to know more about this, call, make an appointment, whatever it is, okay? Before you get off, you commit them to some sort of action. Scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with this? Okay, would you like me to follow up in 24 or 48 hours?
Okay.
Okay, you go 7 days, it's not going to happen. Or if you ask them to text you, you can do that, but I promise you if they haven't texted you, it meant they didn't do it.
Yeah.
90% of the time. 1%, they're just not, they just aren't super communicators, but they did do it. But they need to know you're going to call or just text. It can be a text. It can be Facebook. It doesn't have to be something that takes a long time. So that's why I have leaders go, but then I'm going to be on the phone with them all the time and enabling them. I'm like, no, you're helping them create habits. And because they know you're going to call in 48 hours, they're not going to wait till day 6 where now they have, you helped them get excited and ready to do this. If they don't do it in 48 hours, believe me, they're not going to do it on day 6 because their fear went right back up.
Yeah.
So this is helping them get in a really consistent pattern, which is a habit. Half the reason they're not successful is because their habits are out of line. And 90% of what we do in our life's out of habit. and so it hurts and it's painful at first. But as soon as you get them in a groove, you're not going to have to call them as much.
Okay.
So it actually works better the other way if you follow up a lot more frequently in the beginning, or like I said, when somebody's trying to get back in a groove.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So whoever this gal is, I'd even let the in-between upline, it sounds like they're kind of a grandchild downline, right?
Yeah.
Second generation. So let the person in between know what the commitment was and how soon you're following up, so it models for them how to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I've continued with this same person to have times in which it's like he introduces somebody to it and then he wants to walk away and let somebody else handle it. And that's not working because he hasn't kept anybody in.
Right.
The people he puts in get quit and they never stay, and then he does this, why don't people stay? And it's like, okay, and so when he called me about this one, I was just like, I've said to you 100 times, Tim, this is what you need to do, and I'll help you with it, and I'll walk through it, and I've done it with him, and and so when he did this one, it was just like, oh, dear God. And my daughter's like, don't do it for him, Mom, don't do it, and I'm like, I've got to figure out, so what I have to do is go back and ask him these questions.
Right.
Figure out what his style is and what makes it easier for him so that he doesn't feel like he has to go. And part of it is he hasn't used our product. So when people get in that are interested in using their product, he doesn't feel like he has the, what do I want to say, the authority to say, oh, but I've been on trips and this is what happens and this is cool and whatever. And he also hasn't been to any national trainings to meet people that have used lots and lots and lots of product and to hear all the stories. So he doesn't have that, and so
right.
He's lacking in experience and resolve. So
yeah, and the thing is, so the other thing, and we're like totally off track here. We've kind of just had our own training discussion now, but that's okay. When you hear excuses from people, 90% of the time they're actually telling you they have a fear.
Okay.
Okay, and you got to get down to, hey, tell me a little bit more about that. Tell me why that makes you uncomfortable. Tell me, if there's something you're worried will happen. Talk and find out what the underlying thing is and try to show a lot of confidence in them so they feel really supported, like they can tell you what's actually wrong. And sometimes it's subconscious, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's people who are scared to talk to new people or worried about doing an optional close a deal versus just so you want to do it. There's all these things. And when you get down to their fears, you can move somewhere and support them and go, that totally makes sense why you're nervous. How would it feel to have a way to work around that fear or to overcome that fear? Let them tell you how empowering it would be. Instead of going, wouldn't it feel great? You could feel like this and you could accomplish this. You got to let them be the ones that say it.
Okay. Yeah, that's smart.
So, okay, so week 2. All right, so let's go back to our assignments here. So one of the things, like this is one of my worst bad examples. When we go into a clothing store, we'll have people, can I help you with anything? I do not understand. I'm like, there's got to be a way to start getting into department stores, clothing stores, every store that you walk in and somebody says, can I help you with something? And give them an open-ended question. So imagine if you went into a clothing store and some of these questions were asked instead. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for today. What have you shopped for here before? What are you looking for? Is it for fun or for work? What kind of colors do you most often wear? Where then they have an opportunity to kind of show you something similar or start a discussion or show that they care about you. You care about them. I don't know what I just said. Yeah. And open-ended questions in all these areas. It's just, like I said, you just want to go from store to store to store and go, look, let's have a little session with your people, okay? Don't ever ask another yes-no question, can I help you? Because 90% of the time you're going to hear no. I'm just looking. And they're just like, don't sell me something. we want to make them consultants. We want to make them like, look, we're here, your personal shoppers. There's nobody else in here. Let's have some fun dressing you up. Let's have some fun, okay? Even if you don't buy anything, at least have something better to do than hang up clothes, okay? I mean, if people had that mentality, can you imagine how much more in sales they do? I don't get how we have so little customer service in our world anymore. I don't get it. Like, people are so missing this. But so what I want you to do is I want you to think about the different products and opportunities that you have, okay? You both have more than one thing. Both of you have a product that you both love and think is wonderful, and then you have an opportunity for people to make this a financial opportunity, okay? So you need to come up with, let's see how I wrote this. Oh, actually, what I want you to do is first start with writing down 5 to 10 benefits that your product or service offers. Okay? So just focus on the benefits. And the other way I say it sometimes is, what do I need to find out about this person to see if my product's going to be a good fit? So what it offers and what I need to find out about somebody. And based on that, sometimes I can ask a question, and I'll have, you could ask somebody, what's a medical reason that you might want to lose weight?
That's a really important one for Paula's, because she's got so many people I'm sure that she runs into, don't you, Paula, that that have numerous medical reasons and maybe you're ignoring them?
Paula, for some reason you're muted. Can you see where your mute button is?
Yay!
Yay, there we go. But I still can't hear her.
Oh, I can.
Oh, you can hear her?
Yeah.
Oh, the sound's down. There we go.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Sorry, Paula.
Yeah, that's a good one, because like right now I have a client in Texas that she's not only because of diabetes, but because she needs to have surgery, and they won't do surgery, not weight loss surgery. She needs to have another surgery that they won't do unless she loses some weight. But I never thought to ask that up front. And I guess when I'm sitting talking with the client, a new potential client, a pre-client, that would be a good one to ask.
Yeah, I think some of the feelings ones are really good for you too, because having been a really fat person, oftentimes you don't want to dream or think about the fact that something could be different,
Mm-hmm.
and how it would feel.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's a lot of really good open-ended questions for you, Paula, that you can ask that, what would it mean to you? What would you do different in your life if you felt healthy? Now, I don't like to go around the words, anything that has to do with a number and a certain weight, because you can even be thin and not be healthy, technically.
Right.
Focused around how you'd feel healthy. What kind of activities would you do different? Tell me about how that would feel. How would you feel about yourself? Because usually there's a little lack of confidence that comes with it. All those kind of things will help open it up. But needing to know about people, sorry, that's where I was going. Needing to know, what their biggest health concern is, what they want out of it, and then from there, that's where you can sometimes come up with your best open-ended questions, because most of those things can't be answered with a yes, no. Because if, do you want to lose weight versus why do you want to lose weight? How much do you want to lose weight? What have you tried before? All those things reveal something totally different. So, those kind of things. So, come up with your list of benefits for your different services that you offer, and then the things you need to find out about your customers. And then next week, we'll really hammer the specifics in how you write your questions. Okay. And one of the things I'd like to challenge you to do is to slow down when you're having a conversation with somebody. It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a customer, it could be a recruit, whatever it is, and try to ask more open-ended questions. I just want you to slow yourself down and kind of see how easy it is to be in the habit of asking yes-no questions, and ask as many open-ended questions you can to different people in your life.
So I can practice on my husband. How would you feel about going on a 2-week cruise?
I think the way you do that is, instead of how would you feel, it would be like, how would it feel, honey, to be sitting there on a beautiful sunny day with the water slapping around? How would you feel if
Yeah,
the
paint the
margaritas
picture.
were better?
He would say, I feel stressed about the money.
How would you feel if it was paid for? And
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And I'd pack your bag.
oh, funny.
yeah. Okay, so that's your assignment for the week.
And we're
Keep
supposed to
working on
email it to you?
Yes. So within 4 days, so then I have time to review the things that you have, because then I can kind of make some tweaks if
Okay.
we need to.
So
So, yeah.
by Sunday, I'm emailing this to you.
Yep.
What are you emailing?
The assignment on the bottom of the page for week 2, the 5 to 10 different, how did I put that?
Benefits of our product that we offer, and then open-ended questions to find out how those benefits fit the people that you're trying to talk to, and then 5 scenarios where you use that kind of thing at some time and how it worked.
Okay.
That can be in your personal life. It doesn't have to be in your business.
Yeah.
It can be all the above.
And you emailed that to us?
It's
It's
at the,
on, oh, go ahead. It's on the agenda. It's on number 2. You should have got it as a PDF. It should open for you, but if it doesn't, let me know.
Okay. Well, I got something, but I didn't know that that was it.
Yeah. You should have got quite a few attachments. You don't want to probably print off the book because that's about 130 pages.
I printed it off.
You did? Oh,
Now, I
nice.
do better reading and writing on stuff, so for me, I just printed it off front and back. And
All more power to you. Whatever works for you. It's fine.
I just
So one of my goals this month is to finally get that into Amazon and have it done on CreateSpace and an ebook, and never enough hours.
good for you. I would have loved that when I was publishing.
Yeah.
Much easier than trying to find a publisher and going through all that crap. So good.
Amazing. Yep.
I will work on these things.
Awesome. Okay. So next week, 10 o'clock again, and we'll talk more about questions, and I'll give you another goal-setting assignment, and we'll just keep working. It'll be lots of fun.
Good. And hopefully next week I won't have to try to get Adelie down for a nap before you call.
She's back with Mama.
Maybe she'll get to go home.
Such a good grandma.
Oh, she's
She's very lucky to have you. I didn't have that option.
Yeah, well, I had a young couple well, Josh from BNI told me yesterday, he says, oh, your kids are so blessed. My folks are nowhere near, and neither are my wives. And I thought, I never thought about that. This is just the way life is for us. So it's pretty amazing. I'm very blessed because I want her to think Mimi's house is a good place to go. So
I see week 2 it says 100-day challenge. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. All right.
Got it, my
I'll
friend.
look that up.
Okay, guys.
All right, thanks, dear.
You bet. Thank
All right.
you. Have a great week.
Good to see you,
Bye-bye.
Paula.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.